Colleyville is also allowing salons and gyms to reopen by appointment only and with people required to keep their distance. We did find most of those businesses were still closed today, with one gym owner telling us that there were just way too many requirements, in his estimation, to safely reopen. So let's discuss all of this. Joining me now live from Austin again with what has become a weekly visit. We appreciate the time. Governor Greg Abbott, thank you for being here again. If we can, let's start with what we just reported, and that is Colleyville's mayor and the city leaders deciding to open up restaurant patios for dine-in, as well as hair and nail salons, even though a lot of them didn't open today. Are you in agreement with Colleyville's loosening of the restrictions?
First, I agree with the spirit anyway, and the spirit is to get businesses going, and that's exactly what we want to see in Texas. However, we have to do so in a safe way. Understand this. We are working on strategies that I will announce on Monday about the extent to which Texas can begin to open business, and we're doing so based upon the advice of the 4 medical doctors that we have working on this project, as well as the standards established by Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and the CDC. They have set standards. Know this, and that is with regard to things like salons and gyms, they are still prohibited by the CDC, by the federal government, by the state government. And so those would be situations where people who open up those types of businesses, they're subject to having their license revoked and forever not being able to open their business again. So it's so important that people take the time to learn exactly what is allowed and what is disallowed, and make sure they follow the instructions for this reason. The coronavirus is still spreading across the state. Our goal is to open up business in a slow, phased-in way as prescribed by the CDC, making sure that we will be able to have greater business enterprises, have more people working, have people making money, but continue to slow the spread. The most dangerous places are salons and gyms. The CDC makes that abundantly clear. The doctors advising me make that abundantly clear. Dr. Birx has made that abundantly clear. Do not cause any harm to yourself or to others by engaging in activities that could pose a danger.
Governor, I wanted to give our viewers an opportunity to ask you a question. I heard from Eduardo de la Cruz today on Facebook. He said that he was approved by the TWC 5 weeks ago for unemployment benefits. 5 weeks later, he has yet to see a single dollar. He can't get anybody on the phone. He doesn't know what's going on, and I know for sure he is far from the only one dealing with this. What about unemployment for our unemployed in Texas?
Well, I know that it's been frustrating. I know this, however, though, and that is that the Texas Employment Agency, called the Texas Workforce Commission, they have hired hundreds of additional people to process these claims faster, so much so they now have processed more than 1.8 million claims, and they've paid out more than $1.8 billion in claims. And so, Eduardo, I'm sorry about his situation. I urge him to continue to make contact with the Workforce Commission, because there are people there. They're working now 7 days a week. They processed an overwhelming majority of the claims that have been filed. And I realize it sounds like Eduardo may have been caught up in getting through, but I know that they are able to get through right now.
Yeah, sadly, he's not the only one, we know. Governor, last week you and I discussed property taxes. You weren't really, you told me you were thinking about it. You weren't ready to announce anything at that moment. But we are now about a week or so and a few days away, obviously, from valuation letters beginning to go out. Have you made any decision? Will we hold the line on 2019 valuations, or maybe not?
Yeah, again, it's my understanding that the Attorney General has issued an opinion on that issue. And I can't recall exactly what it says, but I think it's that the assessments continue to go forward. Understand this. One thing that may very well happen this year, the valuation assessments actually may be lower than they were last year. Property values in many parts of the state could be in decline because of what is going on economically. That may result in a homeowner paying less in property taxes than they did last year.
But with all due respect, Governor, the valuations they have pointed out, the municipalities have pointed out, they go all the way back to the very beginning of January. They are kind of stern to point out to all of us that valuations don't come into play basically because of COVID-19, because of the date.
They can. Here's the deal, and that is the fact of the matter is values may decline. If those values decline, the property owner has a right to the lower valuation in the assessment of the property taxes.
Okay, all right. Another question from Facebook. Cesar Saldivar is asking one that I'm very interested in as a parent of 2 kids who are very active in sports. Can you tell us, do you see any path to summer sports for our kids returning? Obviously, they're out of school for the rest of the year. We don't know yet about fall, but what about summer sports?
So we've talked with our team of doctors about that very issue, knowing that this is going to be so important for families and for kids to re-engage. We'll have an executive order that will come up this coming Monday that will address some activities, including some sporting activities. And then as we assess the extent to which we open up and do so safely without the spread of the coronavirus, it will be possible to open it up even more, including eventually, hopefully, the possibility of team sports later on this summer.
All right, Governor Abbott, we have our fingers crossed as parents, I can promise you that. We appreciate your time once again in answering some questions for our viewers today. We'll wish you a good weekend, and thanks again for being with us, and we'll look forward to the announcement coming up on Monday.
Thank
Governor
you.
Greg Abbott joining us here at 6 o'clock.